What's up, Junes? Curious? If we're already wasting time on pointless things or endless YouTube videos, why not spend a few minutes on Mr. Curiosity instead? And are you learning? 30 totally epic facts that you'll forget in 10 minutes, but these aren't just any facts, these will leave you completely amazed. Here are 30 things you didn't know 5 minutes ago. You're probably familiar with the flag of your own country and those of others around the world. You might consider the many organizations, cities, and others with their own flags. But did you know Earth has one as well? Yes, it looks like this, and you could call it fictional since no international organization has adopted it. Nowadays, it's probably pretty strange for someone not to use, or at least not to know about the Google service called Gmail. But surprisingly, it wasn't this company that created that name. You see, originally there was Gmail, which was a service owned by a website dedicated to the animated cat Garfield. Let's see if you knew that, my friend. If you've wanted to visit Japan or are fascinated by it, you should hear this. Even though it seems like a cheerful and fun place, more elderly people are committing minor crimes to go to jail where they can live for free. That's why adults over 65 make up a quarter of Japan's prison population. Some cities and countries have really strange leaders, just like the one you're about to hear about. It was Stubbs, the mayor of the city of Alaska called Talkeetna, who was none other than a cat. His term was from 1997 to 2017, giving him a total of 20 years as mayor. You're probably thinking that the first time a time machine was mentioned in a book was in the work that literally had that name. But if that's the case, let me tell you that you're wrong. The first time this machine appeared in literature was in the book La Chronopete by H.G. Wells in 1887. Tomatoes are currently a food consumed worldwide. However, did you know that in ancient times these were considered poisonous, huh? Yes, this was the case for more than 2 centuries. Since it was viewed with suspicion. Gradually, this myth faded, and the tomato became one of the world's most popular foods. If your hair is naturally red, you should consider yourself practically unique. Only 1 to 2% of the world's population has red hair. However, in some countries, this trait is common. And we're not mainly referring to Ireland. In fact, its population contains 10% of people with red hair. Why so strange? Ireland, why? Nowadays, deodorant is a product sold in practically every part of the world, and we probably all have one in our homes. In case you didn't know, it started being sold in the early 1900s, but it wasn't very successful. That's why companies started convincing people that body odor was unpleasant, so they could gain popularity. Some media outlets may seem less entertaining when there aren't many major news stories. That was exactly the case for the British Broadcasting Corporation in 1930. You see, on April 18th of that year, during what should have been the 6:30 news bulletin, it was said that there was no relevant news to report, so they simply proceeded to play relaxing music. Today, YouTube is the most well-known video platform in the world. In fact, it's likely that you don't know a single person who doesn't know what it's about or who hasn't used it at least once. But it wasn't always a video site, since at first Steve Chen, its co-founder, says that it was a dating app through the creation of videos. Currently, there are many species of octopus, since we know of 800 species of cephalopods in the world, of which 248 are octopuses alone. That's why we can find some really peculiar ones like the vampire octopus. Its name comes from the dark color of its skin compared to others, and also because the skin that connects its arms somewhat resembles a cape. When it comes to cyber attacks, possibly the most surprising of all happened in 1999, when Jonathan James, a 15-year-old boy, literally hacked several National Aeronautics and Space Administration security systems. Interestingly, he ended up doing nothing with it. He just did it for fun. Jonathan, you'd be better off playing Pac-Man. If we're talking about strange behaviors in animals, there's definitely a behavior among urban birds that's a bit unsettling. Some birds use cigarette butts to build their nests, since the nicotine in them somehow helps to repel parasites. Parental guidance. 13 rated movies are quite common, and you probably watch one almost every day. You may not have noticed, but there are almost no insults in the entire film. And there's an explanation for this: parental guidance. 13 movies are only allowed to say one insult. It also can't relate to any sexual topic. At this point, it's pretty likely that we all know the famous American television show Friends. But do you know the main actor's yearly earnings? Initially, it's estimated that they earned $1 million per year, but it was recently revealed that they have lifelong royalties. The series brings them about $20 million a year. Some customs may seem strange to people worldwide, and this is no exception. It turns out that in Lebanon, military commandos have to face a completely unpleasant test, as they have to eat a live snake. To prove their courage and strength? You probably know the phrase "mad as a hatter," which is best known from the movie Alice in Wonderland. Well, the origin goes back to the 18th and 19th centuries, when mercury was commonly used in hat making, which over time could cause mental problems in those who were exposed to it daily. Stay away from mercury, Timmy. If you really like puppies, you probably think it's adorable to watch them play, jumping from one side to the other. Notice that while male puppies are physically stronger, females often win. Animal Behavior magazine says males usually let themselves lose, so females stay interested in playing. If you love exercising, or if you're working hard to lose weight, what you're about to hear might sound a bit strange to you. You see, when you lose weight, contrary to what someone might think, 84% of total fat is lost through the lungs, since it is exhaled as carbon dioxide. This is a bit unsettling, but one of the big differences we can find between a baby's bones and an adult's bones is the number each one has in their body. At birth, a baby has 300 bones, but as they grow, these fuse together until adulthood, when we finally have 206. If you've ever noticed that you can sleep for 4 hours and still not feel sleepy at all, well, there might be a reason for that. Some people have a mutation in a gene called HDS2, which regulates the duration of sleep and wakefulness and allows things like this to happen. Without a doubt, many of the animals we know today tend to be quite interesting, and there are still many things we don't fully know about them. Well, that's exactly the case with the octopus. These animals can create gardens, as they know how to personalize their environment with rocks, algae, seashells, and anything else they find. That's definitely interesting, Mother Nature. While it's well known that mothers help babies develop during pregnancy, you may not realize that babies can also contribute from the womb. Yes, just like you heard. When the baby is developing, he can release stem cells, which are capable of regenerating tissues and can even possibly stop some diseases. Marie Curie, like many, was unrecognized for her major contributions to science. You've likely heard of her or studied about her before. However, it was in her notebooks where she wrote down many of the things she observed. That's why they're still considered radioactive. Even everything around her and Pierre remains radioactive, at least for the next 1,500 years. Currently, there are many strange beliefs and myths, and this could be one of them. And if you're a dog lover, or if you have one or more at home, you probably know the Corsi breed, right? Yes, those small orange and white dogs. In English folklore, this breed was believed to be a fairy gift to Earth and their favorite way to travel. Oh, how cute. In case you're planning your next vacation or you're not quite sure where to go, the Island of the Pigs will probably catch your attention. It's an uninhabited spot called Big Major Cay. It's an area of crystal clear water that's less than a mile wide, and its main attraction is that you can swim with pigs. You probably know that among humans, fingerprints in particular are unique to each person. This means that no two are alike. On the other hand, if you're a cat lover, you'll be fascinated to hear this. And just like us, they have a part of their body that is also unique to each cat, which is their nose. Without a doubt, the laws in some countries regarding their animals are somewhat harsh and, in many cases, completely extreme. In China, killing a panda or selling its valuable paws is a crime punishable by life imprisonment or even death. Leave the bear alone, Mr. Chino. If you hate the smell of cigarettes when they're lit, or if you simply don't smoke at all, working at this company would definitely appeal to you. Pialine, a Japanese company, gives non-smoking employees 6 extra vacation days yearly as a reward for not taking smoking breaks. We all know about hippos, but honestly, you probably don't know much about them since you probably didn't know that a hippo can spend up to 16 hours straight, submerged in rivers and shallow waters. And in fact, that's exactly why the Greeks called them seahorses.